Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. It's been a hot and full couple of weeks since my last video. We are hopefully getting close to the tail end of a pretty extreme heat wave where we've had heat index over 100 degrees for the last 4 days in a row. So we've just been trying to keep all the plants and animals happy, including ourselves despite that. I've been just going around the last couple weeks taking some clips of the day-to-day working flow on the farm, some of the action going on. So taking you through that in late June, early July here. Wary as always, moving the pigs into their new paddock. There's always one or two that seems to be the scout lagging behind, but this is going really quicker and smoother than it ever has. They're really excited to get on this lush green forest understory that we've got set up for them. Bulk carrots harvested this morning and selling lots of bulk carrots through the summer that we were producing through the spring. We got a grant to get this barrel washer that has been working out really well for us. And just one person through here can clean. How many did you do yesterday?
Like 250 pounds.
In like an hour?
An hour about,
yeah.
Just over.
That's great. So yeah, it's a big upgrade for us in wash pack. 4 days in a row with heat index over 100 here. Fortunately, most of what we have growing is heat-loving cover crop. We love this teff, and the heat gave us some germination issues in some beds, but overall, nice stands of cover. And heat-loving vegetables like peppers and squash. Got tomatoes and cucumbers and ginger growing in the tunnels. So things are hanging in there just fine. Not seeing a lot of scald or plants aborting fruit. So we're on the tail end of it now and feel pretty happy with how we withstood this pretty extreme heat spell. The south gardens pretty much entirely in squash or cover crop. We're gonna be crimping this down slash tarping it and planting most of our fall transplants into the crimped teff. Our garlic patch we've transitioned into winter squash, so we've got acorns and baby butternuts and delicata in here. And although it's kind of common knowledge in the dialogue around small scale market gardening that winter squash can't pay their way, we find that we can slip in a quick short days to maturity winter squash in between garlic and a fall crop. And it works out really nicely for us because we get a big yield of storage squash that we can bring to market for weeks and weeks in late summer into early fall. And then we can still get a nice fall crop in here. And these beds between the garlic, the squash, and the fall crop will surely pay their way. And it's just an absolutely beautiful stand. It's this 4 foot or 3 foot high sea of plants that are starting to put on fruits and have vigorous flowers. This willow lane we just pruned pretty aggressively, and it's been really doing its job on multiple fronts. We planted this willow hedge on the western end of the south gardens as little cuttings, just pencil-sized cuttings in the spring of 2024, and This was a multi-fold project with many goals. One being offering a microclimate of afternoon shade in the summertime when it's quite hot, and we've been able to grow some lettuces in some of these beds without any shade cloth later this spring and early summer. We like Willow because it's fast growing and offers a nutritious tree hay and fresh fodder for the ruminants. So we prune it and feed them fresh material, as well as store it in the barn loft and dry it out for winter to cut our winter hay costs. And then also the underlying soil in this part of the gardens is a thick clay that holds a lot of moisture. So we've essentially planted a row of water-sucking straws to pull that moisture out and help keep the bed's a bit less anaerobic and more regulated in that way. So really happy with the willow hedge. We're going to be coming in a few weeks and topping them pretty aggressively to put up loads of winter tree hay. There's still plenty to do on the farm, but with this heat wave, we've been pleased to be able to cut the days a bit short and just send someone to do afternoon animal rounds. But we were able to finish up the workday around 12 or 1. A couple days we got to 2 this past week, and just feels good to have slowed down enough to offer us that flexibility to be able to not need to grind through the heat and not need to come back later in the evening. Not that it would help too much, since it was in the high 90s pretty much till sunset during this hot spell. But yeah, we're still keeping up with harvests. The fruit harvests are 3 times a week, pruning and trellising the tomatoes and cucumbers, keeping up with weeding. I think that the weeds are just about as prevalent as they've ever been on the farm right now. But something that I'm constantly pleased with is the fact that because we don't have really any fast-growing annual weeds to speak of, we can kind of weed at a pace that makes sense with higher value tasks at hand as well. And yeah, things are going smoothly. I think we're all a bit exhausted from the heat, but looks like starting today and moving into the second week of July, things are gonna calm down. Cherries, we've got Sakura on one bed and Sun Golds in the other. We planted enough cherries to really just be focusing on selling to market and getting retail prices for all of our cherry tomatoes. In this bed, in this tunnel, the slicers are also doing really well. We've been loving this lower and lean system with the Q-clips and the hooks. Makes a very easy and really nice thing, particularly in the heat, to not have to be climbing up on step ladders. These plants have really just come into really intense production, and I think we're entering the period of summer where the tomatoes are growing as fast as we can pick them. The grape arbors are hosting some really nice grapes. I went through a few weeks ago and did a bit of a summer pruning. In the summertime, the goal is to contain growth, which, despite my prune, growth continues, but focused on containing growth rather than really shaping the form of the plant. That's more for winter, but it's been interesting since I opened up more sunlight and gave it this prune. The grapes have gone from tiny little clusters, you can barely even tell that they're berries, or fruits rather, like this one, into forming and making their way along quite nicely. That's it. Thanks for watching another video. Got a fun trip with Zach going up to Canada to visit Jean-Martin Fortier's farm and be on the podcast for the market gardeners up there, and going to be visiting farms along the way. So I'm going to be trying to document some of our stops and some of the cool things that folks that we know between here and Quebec are doing that we've learned from and that we're excited to go visit. Thanks for watching another video, and we'll see you next time.